and taxes must be paid. They are not a voluntary contribution to be met out of surplus earnings. They are a stern necessity. They come first. It is only out of what is left after they are paid that the necessities of food, clothing, and shelter can be provided and the comforts of home secured, or the yearnings of the soul for a broader and more abundant life gratified.
And since I don't have a job or anywhere else to go, I would consider myself homeless. So.
Right now, there are more than 9,300 people living on the streets of Minnesota. This is a 9% decrease from the previous studies taken in 2012, but still poses a major problem in our society.
There are plenty of stereotypes that people put on me. For one, they think automatically that I'm homeless or that I ask for help, that either I'm going to take the money and use it for drugs or alcohol, or that somehow I am, just unstable in a way of, they either think of me as a drug addict or an alcoholic, and that's not true. There are some out there, but not everyone out there who is in my situation is an alcoholic or a drug addict. And that's the biggest stereotype that there is.
Anyone can become homeless with the right set of factors in their lives. And when I was working in shelters, I worked with adults for a while, and then I worked with youth for a while. Everybody was trying. Everyone was doing the best they could. Folks don't necessarily have access to the resources they need to get out of homelessness. But it's certainly, people aren't homeless because they just aren't doing what they need to do. There are people who are defined as chronically homeless, who have pretty serious mental health and chemical health issues that make it extremely challenging to get housing and employment within the system. But those folks who I think tend to be often the most blamed and finger pointed at, they're trying too. It's just that they need a lot more support because they have a disability, but they get stigmatized because of mental illness and chemical health. But I never, ever met a person in all my years working in homelessness work who just was there because they were lazy.
The stigma is that the vast majority of homeless people have a drug or alcohol issue, but the reality is that only 23% of homeless adults in Minnesota have been diagnosed with a drug or alcohol abuse disorder.
They assume that because you're out there signing, that you're aggressive or demanding or kind of, trying to be, it's not true. I mean, me personally, when I sign, I only want people who genuinely feel like they want to help, that they want to, the signers usually, they sign because they're trying to reach those people that are touched by our unfortunate situations, And even the ones that kind of seem like they're either desperate or whatever, they're just really hungry. I know it's because I actually see them take the money and then go buy food or go buy, whatever they need. Sure, there's idiots out there who want to use and drink, but most of the time, my experience, people who are really in need are signing.
I think 4% of the need was met in shelter beds. So 4% of unaccompanied youth on the street could get a bed at a shelter. And we are much better than the rest of the country. Like Minneapolis is one of the best cities for homeless youth services, which is really sad. And when I worked at the shelter, I mean, every day it was just like call after call after call, people calling to say like, do you have a bed tonight? Do you have a bed tonight? Do you have a bed tonight? And you just had to keep turning them away.
I'll tell you, the one that I stayed at, you had to be out by morning. They fed you breakfast, but you had to be out like 6 or 7 or something like that. So I take it when it gets really bad, they go there. Otherwise, I know that a lot of people I talk to, you know, they'll try to sleep in staircases of these business buildings, staircases, skyway levels, until security either wakes them up or kicks them out or something like that. You know, I remember one night I tried to do that. I tried to like just get out from the cold and stuff, and I went through the skyway level, and you know, I would rest in one place until security came over, kicked me out, and then I would move from one place to the next.
There is an estimated 6,000 people unsheltered on any given night in Minnesota. 6,000 without a bed. 6,000 needing help, but with no one to go to. This is an epidemic going on in Minnesota and around the United States.
Homeless people are more than just, you know, that title, homeless. They're actual people with lives and feelings, and they have a past, and maybe they just, but you know what? We just see the present and the future. I just want people to stop judging people is what I want. I want people to realize that homeless people are real people too, and that they're not all the negative stereotypes. Sure, there are some, but we're not all like that. And that's the most important thing that I want people to realize, is that we're just like you. We're just people, circumstances and situations. We're just down on our luck, but you know, given the opportunity, I feel like a lot of us would take that opportunity and better our lives and better our situations.